Hey, Honors Intro to Lit class. That's block 1 and 2. This is your vocab video for lesson 1. All right, I'm going to go quickly through all 20 words. I want you to pay attention to part of speech. This sheet is your work copy, so highlighting part of speech, writing little things on the side, taking some notes as I go through each one. That's perfectly fine. All right? So here we go. Admonish is a verb. Admonish is something that parents and teachers do so that students, and actually we're instructed by God to do this, so that we admonish children and students so that they don't fall into sin. All right? This is the pre-discipline thing. So if the student heeds the admonition, if they heed it, if they follow the admonition, they follow that warning, then no discipline is necessary, right? So admonition comes first, and then hopefully that they'll turn away from that sin. All right. Number 2, breach. Breach is a noun or a verb, same spelling. And I'll talk about one example to exemplify both. When I hear that word, I immediately think of what a majestic picture or view it is of seeing a whale come out of the water and then splash, come back down, when they're being all playful and everything. They breach the water and then do the flop down and create all that splash and everything. And I don't know if any of you saw that video recently of kayakers were out there, and a whale came up and lifted the kayak up, so the whale was barely breaching the surface, breaking the surface. All right. So the break, when we could see the whale's back, that's the breach. All right. They broke that surface. All right. They went through. They tore that surface, and the kayak was kind of balancing on top of the whale, and then the whale just went back down. All right. Kind of cool. So, yeah, the breaching is breaking through the surface. All right. And then if you watch the breach of that whale, that means that's you see where they come out of the water when they break that surface. Okay, that's breach. Brigand is bad guy. It's the villain. It's the outlaw, the robber. One of my favorite poems, The Highwayman, could have been titled The Brigand. Oh gosh, how does it begin? The wind was a torrent of darkness throughout the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. Not sure about the first line, that second line. I love that line, I know that's for sure. But the highwayman was a robber, all right? And so that's what a brigand is. It's a person noun, okay? And I like it, or I can connect that, because I try to make connections with these words. It helps me remember them. All right, I'm going to go down to number 5, because commandeer is a word that a very familiar brigand used. If you remember the first Pirates of the Caribbean with Jack Sparrow, our pirate, our brigand, he enlisted the help of Will Turner to commandeer a ship. Okay. They seized it, not necessarily by with weaponry, as the definition in here might suggest, but just through some wit, all right, and so, using some brains there. Anyway, I connect those two. I always remember that line, commandeering the ship there. So that's kind of fun. We'll go back to circumspect because I like to break that word down into two. All right. Uh, circum means that's a part of the word. That's a prefix that means around, like circumnavigate the globe, you go around it. All right. If I circumnavigate the classroom, I go on the outside around the classroom. All right, or circumnavigate the property. I walk all the way around the property. Okay. Spec means has to do with see, vision. All right, like spectacles. Okay. So circumnavigate. Excuse me. Circumspect means to look at something, a situation, from all angles. All right. And a person who does that, who is being circumspect, is very cautious, very careful, because they're looking at a situation from all angles. All right. Okay. Cumbersome. Cumbersome is an adjective, and it means cumbersome is something that is just weighs on you. It is a burden. It is it's a very, very heavy expectation. It is just hard to bear. Okay, hard to carry. And man, that's when we have to dish whatever it is off onto the Lord because He can carry it. Okay. Deadlock, noun, verb, same spelling. Very similar to breach. Deadlock is a tie. Okay, when there's no progress because we're at an impasse, we're at a tie. All right, impasse, deadlock, similar. Excuse me. To deadlock is to come to that point, come to an impasse where there's no progress, there's no forward movement. Okay. Debris, number 8. Debris is trash. All right. Any garbage that's flying around or something left in the hallway, which is no. Okay, we don't want to do that. We don't want to leave debris, blowing around or anything like that. Number 9 is interesting because just the way you pronounce the last part of the word determines its part of speech. So diffuse, like it's a Z sound, that's the verb form. And that means to scatter, to just toss. You diffuse seed if you're planting flowers, not doing stuff in rows, but just there's no logic in it. You're just kind of tossing. All right. Sometimes if you diffuse, you drop a dye in water or something. It'll diffuse, kind of spreads, that sort of thing. The diffuse, that's the adjective. If a person is diffuse, they just flirt, they scatter a bunch of words, or they're saying a bunch of things, but they're not connected. They don't make sense together. They're confusing because they're not logical. All right, they are not logically connected. They're just saying a bunch of stuff. Okay, random things, and it's not making any sense. Okay, that's diffuse. Okay, dilemma. I think that's a word you're familiar with. It's a noun. If you're in a dilemma, you're in a situation where, oh man, don't know what to do. Okay, could be 2 good options, and got to choose one. Could be 2 bad options. You have to choose one. All right, you don't know what to choose. Okay. Number 11, efface. That's a verb. And uh, to efface, you just kind of wipe out, almost like wiping out evidence of something. Okay? So a burglar or a brigand might diffuse, um, wiping down the safe to make sure that there's no fingerprints. Or a crooked um, law enforcement person. I was trying to remember. I saw a movie, man, and I can't remember it. But the law enforcement, they faced the crime scene. Golly, what was that? Changed the crime scene. Major. Um, ooh, that's way illegal, but I cannot remember what it was. A story that I read or a movie that I saw, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. It'll hit me sometime, and I'll tell you. But he faced the crime scene, all right, and so that it threw the other investigators off big time. Muddle, noun or verb? No, yeah, noun or verb, depending on how you use it in a sentence. If I muddle up a situation, muddle up an explanation, I make it all confusing, murky. Um, uh, it's kind of useless. Okay. Um, if I'm in a muddle, I'm in a mess. Okay. Uh, my desk can be a muddle sometimes. All right. And with a muddle, you just do your best to kind of wade through. I think of a muddy puddle. That's what a muddle is, Muddy puddle, you just kind of trudge through it. Okay. Um, opinionated. Opinionated is when it's an adjective, and that means you have opinions, but you're standing by them stubbornly. Okay, almost to the point of I'm not going to even listen to anybody else. All right, so it has negative connotations. All right, perennial. Which I could show you. Right outside my window, I have some perennials, some black-eyed Susan flowers. You've seen them before. They have the black middle, and the petals are all bright yellow. Those are perennials. They come up every year. Okay, I don't have to plant them annually like I do. What did I? Oh, I had some flowers out on the back patio that petunias. Those are annuals. You have to plant them annually. All right. Perennials usually cost more because you only have to buy them once, and if the conditions are right for them, they come up every year. I planted some other ground cover, which is it was a perennial as well, so that it could just kind of spread out, and they're pretty green with some purple flowers, and I won't have to buy them again. Okay, because they'll come up every year. They'll keep on just growing. Okay. Um, predispose. Predispose is a verb. Pre means before. Okay, and your disposition. That means your feeling, your opinions, your state of mind. If you're predisposed to something, that means you have opinions about it before you try it. All right. Somebody might be predisposed to dislike some sort of food because they had it fixed one way and they didn't like it, so they're not going to try it another way. They're predisposed, all right, to liking it there. Okay. Relinquish is a verb, means to give up legally, but also just to, if you relinquish your rights to something, you give up those rights. Okay? Now, I was adopted, and so back in the, 50 years ago, my birth mother, my biological mother, she relinquished her rights to raise me. Okay? And I'm grateful for that. Anyway, number 17, salvage. Salvage is a verb. It can also be a noun. And this is, you kind of gather up after a catastrophe, after something bad has happened. If you salvage, these are the things that you could save to still use. All right? And so then, of course, this is similar to breach. The noun is the actual items that have been saved that are usable still. Okay? So salvage the ship's going down, salvage the lifeboats, okay? This sort of thing. Salvage the water bottles, whatever. Spasmodic. Spasmodic is an adjective, and it is kind of a sudden sort of thing, and intermittent, that is in the definition. That means happening every now and again. It'll be really bad, and if we're having intermittent storms, we'll get a bunch of storms, and then it'll lighten, a little bit of rain, bunch of thunder and lightning and rain, and it backs off. That's intermittent and spasmodic, okay? Not happening in a regular pattern, but boom, boom, all right? That's spasmodic. Spurious is fiction, all right? It's an adjective. It's not true, all right? It's not the real thing. I saw on the news last night, on World News, that there was this girl trying to sell fake concert tickets, and this one woman had bought or had spent $600 on 2 tickets, and they weren't real. She bought them off of Craigslist, of all places. Well, so then this World News, one of the reporters, they were running kind of a sting operation there, and they got this girl actually sold them fake tickets, sold their plant fake tickets, and then they come in, all the reporters and the camera and everything, and yeah, it was pretty intense, but spurious tickets. That's what they were. They weren't genuine. You couldn't get into the to the concert with those tickets. And our last word is unbridled. Unbridled. Well, think about it. Un means not or think about a horse without a bridle. The bridle is the thing that goes in its mouth, and it kind of directs them. It kind of controls them. If they don't have that control, they are out of control. All right, and that's what unbridled is. Out of control, either unbridled happiness or joy, out of control happiness. All right, that's unbridled. All right. Now, I know the bottom sentence kind of got cut off. It's a bundle that it took 4 of us to carry it to the basement. You could kind of make out what it's saying, but I think the rest I got on there without problem. All righty. So I hope this helps you out. All right, and have a blessed weekend. We'll see you on Monday.